Avatar was the hardest thing I'd ever done until we did Korra. Now we're getting to expand the franchise in different directions all at once. It's a challenge. Hi, I'm Bryan Konietzko, co-creator of Avatar: The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra, and co-chief creative officer of Avatar Studios. I graduated from the Rhode Island School of Design in 1998. That's where I met Mike DiMartino, co-creator of Avatar. They called it the Toon Boom of '98, and there was a big push for primetime sitcom animation. There was this gap. There was this idea that animation for adults was just primetime stuff where people were either being crude or sarcastic, and then there was like kid stuff.
I have grown up. It is nature's way.
An opportunity came up to work on Invader Zim, and that got me over to Nickelodeon.
It's over! Attack! The Earth is mine to devastate!
I went over there as a storyboard artist. It was just like pure creativity.
Now Santa is going to destroy you!
I ended up becoming art director on that show for the second season. Got sent over to Seoul, South Korea to work with the animation studios. That gave me this whole window into something I was really curious about. It was the actual animation.
But first, you gotta check out my new venture, moving pictures.
That experience and exposure really fed into making Avatar.
Hopefully, our visit to all of the air temples will give you the inspiration you need to delve more deeply into your studies.
And we got really lucky that there was just this moment in time where Nickelodeon wanted to branch out from doing comedy, coming-of-age type shows that they were really well known for.
This time we're going to try something a little different.
We wanted to create a story that we hoped would have a shelf life. You're not just being entertained and distracted for 22 minutes. Let's not have that reset button. Let's let the characters grow. Let's have an arc.
Mastering the elements takes years of discipline and practice. But if the world is to survive, you must do it by summer's end.
It's not magic. It's something that's earned. It's something that's learned.
I better spend the whole day training.
It's this cumulative effect. You're gaining something and you're moving in a direction. That's how you tell an epic scope. There has to be a journey.
You'll need these. You have a long journey ahead of you.
Being a kid who grew up on Star Wars and Willow and getting to immerse into a huge world, it just gave me that feeling that I want to create stuff like that.
What about the time you guys took down the Fire Lord? That must have been epic!
Avatar's what we wanted to make. But when we're talking about deep, long-form storytelling, we didn't create that. It was something we, as Western viewers, we were just craving that. If you were watching anime, that was just normal.
What? How? Where'd you get that idea?
If you were only exposed to American animation at that time, yeah, that probably felt pretty fresh. That's probably why we had a lot of adult viewers and people who weren't even usually into animation.
Avatar's Day!
I've always described Avatar as an homage, a love letter to Japanese anime, but we were always conscious that we weren't trying to pass it off as a counterfeit. I didn't want to like just copy what we were seeing and what we thought was cool. How could we make something from the heart that was authentic, but was also wearing our inspiration on our sleeve?
We all deserve a little rest and relaxation after all this craziness.
After Korra, Mike and I, we were both burnt out on TV, production. Trying to execute a vision through a team of people spread across the world is really challenging. You go through your own character arcs when you make these things. You go through your own challenges, you know.
It's okay, why don't you take a break?
I got to a point where when I would watch, not just animation, but scripted stuff, I could hear the network notes. It was hard to watch. Even my friends' shows.
Why did you give me Momo's ears?
At least you don't look like a porcupine. My hair's not that spiky.
At the beginning of Avatar, I was so fueled by inspiration. By the end of that, I was like out of that fuel.
If you don't deal with your repressed feelings, there will be severe consequences to your health and your job.
Our shows are always about balance. Sometimes you need to swing in a different direction. So I really took a break from animation. It was awesome, because I found stuff that refilled that tank that honestly I don't think I had topped off since the beginning of Avatar 20 years ago.
You inspired us. Once we heard that you survived out in the wilds, we decided to try it too.
And we got, sucked back into the TV world. Nickelodeon was under new leadership, and they were like, hey, we really love and respect Avatar, and we would love to have you guys come back.
At that moment, we knew you had returned to the world.
I was like, I've spent the majority of my adult life in that building in Burbank, California, and I need a different environment. What if we did a bigger overall deal instead of just project to project? Somehow we got our own studio within Nickelodeon.
So I created a place I could truly call home.
So now with the stuff we're doing in Avatar Studios, we're just like, it's years later, what technology is available? How can we even push that further?
Varric's heading up my new technology division.
I've seen the future, and the future is magnets.
I like to see technology support artwork. I don't want to see artwork support technology.
Wow, I didn't know you could draw.
There's this great Miyazaki rule. Everything you do at Studio Ghibli, even if it's going to end up 3D, has to start as a handmade piece of art. And for me, I mostly did landscape oil painting. I love that stuff. So one of the biggest reasons for co-creating Avatar was like a chance to do cool background paintings. Epic landscapes.
It's beautiful up here.
It's beautiful, and more importantly, the Fire Nation can't find us.
Actually, all of Avatar, almost all the storyboards were drawn on paper. We came back 2 years later to do Korra, and the industry had changed. Everybody was drawing storyboards in a program, and Mike and I didn't know how to use the program.
From now on, developing this technology is your #1 priority.
I'm not the most technologically minded person, but I'm pro technology, like if it's gonna make the art better.
This is going to change everything.
Things have obviously changed a lot. That was 20 years ago since we created Avatar.
The world has changed in the 100 years you've been gone.
Compositing has gotten so incredible.
What is that?
You have your background art, your character art, and you slap it together and you photographed it. And then they figured out, oh, well, if we do this, we can get some depth, we can get some soft focus.
All the while mentally composing the most exciting tale ever told.
Between Avatar and Korra, we added one in-house compositor, and that leveled us up hugely. And you're seeing that, something like Arcane. Don't get me wrong, the art directions, the painting, all that's beautiful, but that shows compositing. That's the secret sauce that gels it all together, and their compositing is gorgeous.
I urge you to meditate on these visions.
Even in 2D, you can simulate some 3D stuff. It's this hand-drawn, hand-painted world, but the camera's moving freely through it. You're not stuck in this kind of rigid 2D world. Some people call that 2.5D. We at Avatar Studios, we are very into utilizing technology to support us and to help the artwork have more dimension and depth.
Well, I think you all look perfect.
We feel like at its heart, we want to keep that 2D craft alive.
Some traditions have purpose.
We still find the Avatar world to be really rich for us creatively. And we always would have ideas, like while we were making one of the 2 shows, wow, wouldn't it be cool to like explore that? Wouldn't it be neat to do something in a different tone? And now we're getting to expand the franchise in different directions all at once.
You're on-screen talent, kid. Leave the storytelling to the masters.
Now we're making a movie, our first movie. As cool as it was to work in TV, like features were like, that's where you get to really craft something that you're not just rushing and having to put it out. And so that always, as an artist, that was like really alluring to me.
We're gonna do big business with these movers, as I call them.
It's executing it is the hard part. Getting those ideas woven together in some sort of a meaningful, satisfying way. Then executing that in animation, which is really a hard medium, especially hard to do consistently, on schedule, on budget. I can't really wrap my head around the final mix and the final color correction on the feature.
It's just a mover. Don't overthink it.
Avatar was the hardest thing I had ever done until we did Korra, which was even harder. Now we're talking about doing multiple projects at the same time, including feature films. How did I get myself into this? But as with the first 2 series, you know, it's worth it.
You represent the future of a culture that is being reborn.
If we do our jobs well, we will have taken advantage of these amazing opportunities and hopefully created some beautiful artwork and some meaningful storytelling that will resonate with people.